We're now catching up with Gary Diamond. He's going into his 6 month of trading with Concept Claim Solutions. Gary's very kindly agreed to share with us what the last 3 months have looked like in terms of any key learnings, challenges he's overcome, and the type of work that's involved. So, Gary, how's it been overall the last few months?
It's been extremely busy, Rebecca, over the last few months. As you mentioned, I'm going into month 6, and we have lots and lots of things happening. Obviously, ultimately, we're managing multiple claims, which is fantastic, but we're also looking at increasing our social media presence. We're looking at some marketing campaigns, obviously coming into the autumn and winter, which would naturally in the insurance industry be busier months, obviously with certain weather conditions and so on as well.
Sharing with us what that support's look like from head office in terms of with the insurance and the surveying and scoping part of your role.
That's no problem at all. I can understand. I was in the same position. Back in February, whenever I started, was an area that I needed to focus on and build up my own knowledge. But the one thing, Rebecca, that I quickly recognized within the network is that you feel like you're part of a bigger team, even though yes, you're running your own business in your own territory. There is that team environment and that team atmosphere. And one thing I found working with head office, everyone's working towards that common goal. Nothing's too much of an ask for them. I would be on Zoom calls nearly daily, certainly every other day with head office. And certainly if you have an urgent claim that you need to speak with, there's always someone who will make themselves available to discuss that. And it's looking at scopes, it's maybe looking into insurance policy terms and conditions, also maybe even just discussing the responses that you get from insurers and loss adjusters, and obviously making sure that those are responded to accordingly and efficiently. Any support that's needed, head office have always been there for me, and the advice has always been superb, and they always do it with a smile on their face. We always have good crack as well on those calls, but they really break it down, and they're patient with you, and they understand where you're starting off. So you don't need to feel under any pressure whatsoever. People always learn at different speeds, and I feel that the training's been given, that's been given has been excellent.
With us, Gary, what your kind of mix of claims has been today, and also what the values are in total so far. I know that might change slightly, but a rough guide of where you're at.
Sure. So yes, as I mentioned earlier, I'm coming in the month 6. So if I give you the figures up to month 5, currently the total value of those claims that we're managing it's around about 153,000. It's about a dozen claims. We do have some additional claims pending, obviously, as well. And those claims, yes, obviously within the industry, escape of water is probably the biggest area in terms of claims being submitted. But we've also had some storm damage claims. We've had a lead for fire. We've had some subsidence in there as well. So there is a good mixture. And again, in terms of value, a good mixture of value. We've worked on some smaller claims, maybe around the £2,000 mark. I would say a typical, maybe an average size claim would be ballpark about £6,000. But there's also a number of claims we're working on 20,000, 30,000, and even up to £70,000 at present. I'm confident about the future. I'm very confident about the future, and really, I've personally followed the business model quite closely, and I think that's really laid great foundations for my business moving forward. And as I mentioned, I've really got to know the guys at head office, and I've tried to absorb as much knowledge from those guys as possible. And I do feel now, coming into the month 6, that I have the ammunition to push our business forward. And yeah, I'm really confident.
The last question from mine is, what are your plans for the coming months or even years, if you've thought that far ahead yet?
I have thought that far ahead. I'm always planning for the business, and that that changes on an ongoing basis. I think you have to be adaptable in business, and obviously, certain circumstances you have to change things. But my current plans for the business, to answer your question, as I mentioned before, are to put everything into the last 6 months of the year and really achieve those turnover and profit targets that we put in the business plan. Moving forward, maybe year 2, potentially year 3, I have a personal goal of trying to achieve a turnover of 1 million for the business. To be able to do that, yes, we're going to have to invest in additional staff and really focus on business development. But ultimately, if I'm looking further on down the line, I really want to make a real presence for Concept in Northern Ireland, and become the leading loss assessor, within the country, and that may involve taking on additional territories, of course, which I'm interested in doing.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time, Gary. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.